Hi everybody, it's Sayward from FindYourDivinity.com. I'm back here today, woo, new setup, with the second part of how to discover what kind of a witch you are. So if you watched my last video, I went through a brief visualization. I'll go ahead and link that video below, so if you'd like to start from the top, you can. But I linked a brief I did a brief visualization with you guys, kind of collaborating some ideas about what you think witchcraft is and what you are interested in doing. So if you did that, or if you're like, oh, how can I get started? Please go back, put me on pause, go back to the first video. It's real short. It's just maybe a minute, a couple of minutes, not long at all. But it's a good way for you to get some ideas going, okay? So this is for the groups of people, those of you who are brand new and you're like, man, I really like this stuff, but how do I get to where you are, right? These are the first steps. I get these questions all the time. So this is part 2 of that video. Go over there if you need to. Anyway, so you now have a list, hopefully, of things that are interesting to you. For example, we brought up colors, we brought up environments, we brought up things, okay? We brought up tools of divination. We talked about different things that you might see, okay, different objects, different workings, if you will, in your mind. So whatever it is on that list that you have, here's the next step, right? I left you guys with that cliffhanger going, research. Well, here's the thing. Research, that word, is boring as sin. It is so boring, it's ridiculous, right? You hear research and you're just like, oh, she's sending me back to the books. It's okay. Yes, there's lots of information to be gained from books and websites and articles and social groups, and one of the things that if you've watched any of my other videos, you hear quite often from me is find your tribe. And what I mean by that is to find people who you resonate with, who are willing to listen to you seriously and who are willing to give you their honest opinion, okay? People who understand where you're coming from. So my idea here is, in order to be able to find your tribe, you have to know who you are. So that's what we're trying to do, okay? The research portion of this is something that shouldn't make you feel like, oh, I gotta read another book. It should make you feel alive. It should make you feel excited. It should make you be like, oh my God, okay, I got an hour, I'm gonna devote it to magic. Okay? If magic's something that you want to do, if magic is something that you feel, then feel it. Stop trying to pull away, lean in. So, how do you lean in? It's very hard to kind of move from what you've read and what you've seen on your phone to actually doing magic, right? How do you do that? For the beginning practitioner, comes down to a little bit of neuroscience. So I'm going to explain this in a very basic way, and anybody who may be a neuroscientist or relatively familiar, feel free to add in and explain how this works, or if you think I'm full of crap, leave it too. I don't care. It all comes for views. For real though. It comes down to a concept called neuroplasticity. So decades ago, they thought that when we became adults, our brains didn't change. Okay, they thought that we couldn't learn anything else, that, we reached a point and then that was it, our brain couldn't change. As it turns out, neuroplasticity has the ability to bend, to change, okay? We learn something new every day, we create new connections, and we sever old connections every single day. So in order for you to be able to connect with something deeply, like magic, you have to begin to connect things. You have to begin to create new connections, you have to begin to sever old connections and to create space for this new thing that you want to bring into your life. Research in the book sense is one way, okay? It's very helpful for people who are literal or word literary learners, I guess, for them to read books and to be able to get things out of that. But then we're kind of ignoring the rest of the ways that people learn, right? So here's my advice to research, and here's my second step. What I want you to do is, yes, initially get online and Google witchcraft uses of, and then whatever's on your list, okay? Witchcraft uses of tarot cards, witchcraft uses of pendulums, witchcraft uses of the color blue, whatever, okay? Search for these things, educate yourself. I get asked all the time for resources, and here's the thing. I hate giving out specific resources because I feel like it's gatekeeping. I do not want to tell somebody who feels deeply and solidly secure in ancestral magics or cultural magics that they need to go do this other thing, that this is a superior resource, okay? Magic, to me, in my feral witchery, is about intention. It is about what you connect with. It is about what resonates with you. It is about what you can feel in your head, in your heart, in your body is truth. And truth varies from person to person, okay? I like to give the adage, like, you call a thief, but what if that thief is stealing a loaf of bread for a child? Is he really a thief? It's a matter of circumstance and perspective, right? So it's all the same with magic. What you believe may not be the same thing as someone else believes, but both of your beliefs have validity because you believe them. And that's based on this principle that our minds are able to manifest in part or portion our reality. Okay? If you believe in magic, what you believe is that your brain has the ability to change events around you. That's it. That's quite literally it. I'm going to say that again, okay? If you believe in magic, you believe that your brain has the ability to change events around you. It's not the tools, it's not the cauldron, it's not the fire, it's not the petition. All those things come together in this ritualistic sense, which is what we know as the term Gnosis, okay? You take these parts and these pieces and you add them together into this culmination, which becomes bigger than the sum of the components itself, right? This is magic. This is your manifestation. This is the way that you get your mind to create the thing that you are desiring. Okay? So, in order to work with our brains, in order to be able to manifest, we have to believe in what we're doing. Which is why when I tell you, you have to look at this is the definitive resource, this is the blah, 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 blah. I can give you tons of great resources, and I'll do that if you ask. But hear me out here. If I tell you what you have to believe, then you are believing it because I said so and not because you do. Does that make sense? I want you, as a practitioner, to be able to feel solidly about the things that you do. And I'm recognizing your uniqueness and individuality as a person, as a participle of this beautiful, unique world. And I'm trusting that you can believe things and that you can know things and you can manifest things that I don't. Okay? It's about recognition. It's about respect. And I'm challenging you to recognize your own divinity. I'm challenging you to recognize yourself. Okay? The way that you're going to develop intuition, the way you're going to be able to be like, oh, how do I be a witch without reading a book, is learning to trust yourself and to be able to do that and to react and to interact on your own feelings about a situation with regard to other environmental aspects, okay? All of this stuff, like I said, pendulum, tarot cards, cauldrons, what have you, they're all tools for your mind. If you watched another one of my videos, I go into depth about how you can manifest things without any tools at all. And it's a very simple process and it's something that anybody can do. I recommend it if you are starting out as a witchcraft practitioner, you're really interested, but you're not sure how. Drop it. Drop it, drop all the things, and just focus on your mind. Because that is the thing that makes all the rest of this happen, okay? I can do magic sitting in a chair. I don't have to do all of the other rigmarole, if you will. To people who look outside, it's certainly that. I don't have to do all of these other things if I don't want to. Now, I use tools, of course, to help me enhance my magic. And it's much easier for me to create these vibrations for people across the world when I have tools to do that, which is why I use them. But I don't have to. And you don't have to. You don't have to have a single tool to do magic, except your mind. So how do you go about changing your mind? How do you go about finding that solidarity, right? This is another portion of research. I mentioned neuroplasticity, and you might have felt that I dropped off there, but all of that was important for this simple fact. You have to be willing to change your mind, and there have to be different options for you to change your mind. As I mentioned, reading a book, reading a website, that's one option, okay? But it's limited in that it's only this written text. What I really encourage you to do is to find ways to physically, tangibly interact with your craft. You may be like, but Sayward, I'm brand new and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to do a spell. Can't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Good idea. That means that you have some solid grounding of just how powerful you can be and just how much you could possibly mess something up if you weren't really sure about what you were doing, right? This is the initial fear, I think, because a lot of people begin to be interested in witchcraft. They want to start, but they're so afraid that they're going to mess something up that they never even try. So the way that you get started in a safe way is by interacting with things that are magical, but aren't necessarily gonna change the game. So instead of trying to do this crazy, intense love spell that you were thinking about, or instead of doing this dark magic rite, I suggest that you find yourself on your list. Again, take a look at the list. What did you see? What was your perfect witch looking like? What do you have? What do you see around you? What are you interacting with? For a lot of people, it's tools of divination, okay? Tarot cards, pendulums, dowsing rods, runes, bone sets, playing cards, I Ching. Okay, all of these are tools and methods of divination. If you happen to have one of those on your list, I deeply encourage you, spirit boards as well. Thank you, Spirit. If you happen to have these things on your list, I deeply encourage you to go get one. Okay? Tarot decks can be found as cheaply as like $5 on eBay with free shipping. It doesn't have to be anything crazy big. I have a friend who uses playing cards and she does quite well with them as well. That's the power of magic. Okay, it doesn't have to be this crazy expensive thing. You can find your tools and your divination items in thrift stores a lot of the time. You can make your own. Like, please, by all means, find some things that weren't being used before and create your own sets. The internet is this magical thing where if you ask it a question, it'll teach you how to do just about anything. So if you have something on your list that's a divination related item, I suggest that you procure it, okay? Why? Because what you're doing is you are pairing your imagination, your thoughts, your knowledge, along with this physical tool, okay? You're making physical movements, you're making a physical connection, you are making a body, a tactile connection, while you are using your mind in these magical ways, okay? When we are working to develop our intuition, when we are working to listen to ourselves, to be able to gain the things that we need, to be able to have accurate divination, to be able to really deeply connect with our witchcraft and our spellcraft, and to feel more solid and more connected in ourselves when we're working in these ways, it's important to pair multiple aspects of yourself, okay? So your mind is deeply involved in reading, but you are not actually touching anything besides the phone or the book or whatever. When you have a deck of tarot cards in your hand and you are doing readings, and then you're reading to find out what the information is. It's a multifaceted approach, okay? So maybe you didn't have tarot cards or runes or anything like that. Maybe you saw yourself dancing. Maybe you saw yourself drumming. Get an instrument, okay? Hang drums are prohibitively expensive for a lot of people. By the way, if you really like me, please let me know, and I'd love to just accept one because I will do so many videos with it, please. I digress. They can be prohibitively expensive, but there are a lot of like steel tank drums that are in the $30 to $40 range that have very great meditative qualities. You can buy, I'm sure everybody who's watching this has probably more than once seen the Tibetan singing bowls. They're not actually Tibetan, that's a whole nother video, but I digress. They're called Tibetan singing bowls. And so that's that brass bowl with the wooden mallet that goes around that creates these harmonic sounds. The crystal singing bowls, of course, those are more expensive than the brass versions, but all of these, okay? I have a drum. I love my drum. I was gifted my drum. My daughter colored on my drum, and I painted my drum. Like, I love my drum, okay? It was a very cheap, quote-unquote, thing because it didn't cost me anything, but to me, it means a lot. So find something that you can connect with. My first drum, to be honest, my first drum was an old Lincoln Logs container that had the metal bottom and then this real thick plastic top. And I was just banging on it with a stick and having the time of my life. So get creative, figure out what is it? What's on your list that you can connect with in a real tangible way? Okay? That's the research. I want you to take the ideas and I want you to begin to apply them in a way that's safe. Don't worry about casting on other people right now. We can save that for other times. You've got your whole life ahead of you. For now, focus on you. What is it that you love? What is it that calls to you? What is it that you want to know more about? And find a way to connect with that in more than just one. Thanks, guys. I'll see you for video 3.